Hey there, this is Dean Walker, speaking for the Poetry of Predicament podcast, a YouTube channel. Oh boy, it's been an interesting time. About 10 days ago, I posted an update of sorts about how it's going in Oregon, because Oregon was not at that time getting much press for anything in the COVID-19 department, and much less anything else. I mean, there were certainly demonstrations as there were across the country, but nothing to speak of really. And then in terms of the COVID news, that's why I did the update then, was the projections that I mentioned in that posting were pretty extreme. By going up by 300% to as much as 1,000% in the possible projections of infections, and then obviously hospitalizations and deaths projected here in Oregon. And I'm going to put off the majority of the COVID-19 update because truthfully, I think we're doing pretty well. There still is increasing, but it's at the lower end of the projections. So that's the good news that I have for this particular part. But now, you'd have to be in a cave to not realize that there's a tremendous amount of important stuff going on here in Oregon, not where I live down in the south, but up in the northwest of the state in Portland area. And of course, if you've been watching any kind of media, whether mainstream or not, you will know that the US government has been sending in troops, literally troops, to protect the federal facilities in Portland. That's the surface reason, the presenting reason for sending them. But clearly Donald Trump and his administration have a far more militarized agenda, with Portland as kind of a test run, which he then promises to expand in a number of cities across the country. So let's go right into a summary, if you will, of some of the dynamics of the protesters versus the government agents. And we'll then roll into some impact on press in general, not just in Portland, but across the country, and how they have taken the brunt also of much of this police abuse, and especially federal agent abuse in communities across the country. And there's more, but we'll get back to that in just a moment.
We're pressed. We're pressed. Right now, the State Patrol of Minnesota has asked us to get on the ground. We're complying.
Go inside.
This was
You up there, go inside. Go inside.
we were covering what was a very peaceful protest. The State Patrol pulled up immediately and started shooting tear gas. We're pressed, sir.
You're pressed?
Pressed.
Go inside. Stand up. Put your hands behind your back.
In the 6 days, protests against police brutality have raged across the U.S. Journalists have been arrested, pepper sprayed, shot with rubber bullets, and harassed. The first major incident was on Friday morning, when police arrested Omar Jimenez and his CNN crew on live TV. Minnesota police said the journalists were released after they were confirmed to be members of the media. But video of the arrest shows Jimenez waving his press credentials as the police arrested him.
You are arresting him live on CNN. We told you before that we are with CNN.
And that was only the beginning.
Who were they aiming that at?
Now he's shooting at the
At
photographer.
us, like directly at us. Directly
Why
at
are they
us.
doing that?
He's shooting at our crew.
I don't
Do
know.
they not know that
Behind
obviously
them.
they see the camera?
As we see, that camera person just got shot.
Shot the press.
They just shot at that man. He clearly has press on his helmet right there. We have seen that multiple times over the course of protests nationwide.
Get on! Go!
Where do I go? I'm with WCCO.
Get on! Run your wrist!
Put it down.
Set it down.
Press! Press! I'm press! I am press.
I don't care. Get down.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down.
I am press. Please.
I was just sprayed in the face with pepper spray.
Police departments have acknowledged that there was excessive force used in some of the most high-profile incidents and apologized to some news organizations.
I was on a call with CNN President Jeff Zucker, who demanded to know what happened. I take full responsibility. There is absolutely no reason something like this should happen.
But it wasn't just those at large news outlets being attacked. Independent photographer Linda Tirado was hit in the eye with what she believes was a rubber bullet. Meanwhile, Trump has done nothing to condemn the violence against journalists. On Sunday, the president continued his years-long attack on the press by calling the media fake news and truly bad people with a sick agenda.
You know, there's just one other piece I'd like to add to the Portland story, which again, you probably already heard about or seen in just the past couple of days, but I think it's an extraordinary expression. There's first and foremost, really the moms are showing up, and that's not just in Portland, that's across the country, where mothers of all sizes and shapes and colors are showing up together to very peacefully but very firmly protest what's going on. You know, getting their bicycle helmets, that's kind of what they're renowned for now. So I want to do a shout out to the moms, and I'll be bringing more in that way in later postings. But I wanted to also include this extraordinary expression of a very different way of protesting, and in the face of absolutely daunting militaristic force here in Portland and again across the country. But here in Portland, this particular expression started to happen, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it and show you what I've been able to find in terms of video and still images. Quite extraordinary.
I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed law enforcement officers.
Go inside now! Get in the hell!
Get in.
It's trampled by a mounted patrol officer.
Establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. 100% we will succeed.
this was pepper sprayed.
They would have been greeted with the most vicious dogs and most ominous weapons I have ever seen.
What the fuck? Oh, they're fucking breaking it. Shit.
They identified themselves as media, and they were shot at with a rubber bullet.
I'm press.
I am press. Please.
Okay. Whoa. I am under arrest.
Our correspondent, Omar Jimenez, being arrested.
The president walking through Lafayette Park. You know, this is a park where the protesters have been lined up for days now, and it was just completely emptied out. We have now witnessed the President of the United States operating outside the bounds.
All right, so there's one last piece that I'd like to introduce to you here
what we know to be our
before signing off this particular episode of the podcast. And that's a vet, recent vet who was confronting a number of the soldiers, the officers that are doing all this enforcement, and he was asking them, with nothing in his hands, he was asking them, what about the Constitution you've sworn to uphold? And this is how he was responded to. Again, he's not in a threatening posture at all. They start beating on him, they spray him, and what you might not be able to tell right here is that they actually broke his hand in doing that. I can tell you from a very short career in law enforcement that kind of baton work is never supposed to come anywhere near someone's hands or face, something that could, cause irreparable damage. And so we're just watching this again. He's never once been threatening in that. And so here is the final face of all of this. Again, the moms, an extraordinary expression from so many different pockets of America, and I couldn't be more proud of the people who are standing in the face of the spraying and the violence and the intimidation, the militarized police. There'll be far more to report on as time goes on, and of course, I'm just one of many, many people gathering together and putting together these kind of conglomerations to offer up to folks to keep you all informed. These are extraordinary times. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.